So did you know that there are actually 12 Grudge movies? 14 if you count 2 short films. At least that I can find so far, but I'm pretty sure that there are more hidden away. It was kind of ridiculous actually, because I thought that I knew about all of them, but they just kept popping up. So I found 8 Japanese entries and 4 American. I thought that there would be just as many versions of The Ring, but I could actually only find 8 in total, and that's not including a television series with 2 seasons, which still is a lot, but no doubt that the Grudge franchise has had more success internationally. Either way, without The Ring, there would be no Grudge. The reason I love horror today is mostly because of these films. Very few movies have impacted my life the way that they have. I think I was around 6 or 7 when I first watched Ring, so to me, it was all real. Like, the girl in the TV was real, so it impacted me a lot at the time. And then I watched You-on 1 and 2 on my 10th birthday, and I'm pretty sure that was when my love for horror really spiked. I will always carry these movies with me, and I don't think that anything can ever compare to the space that they have captured in my heart. Not that it's the thing that I love most in the world, it's a small space, but they have it. As you might know, it all started with a novel written by Koji Suzuki that was published in 1991 in Japan called Ringu. So creepy, your hair will literally stand on end, but you still won't be able to put it down. I am actually currently reading it, and so far it's very different. Please let me know if you want me to make a video and talk about just how. And from the first book, it just spiraled on with 2 sequels and then the adaptations into film and television. And then we got the Grudge movies and a bunch of other gems that took variable amounts of inspiration from it, like One Missed Call, Dark Water, Shutter, and Pulse, just to mention a few. So this is the last time that I will ever use the sun to light up my videos, because it keeps changing too much. I cannot do this. Like, okay. So, we've previously had viral cursed videos, mutated monsters in great numbers, and I kept wondering how they were gonna top themselves. I'm not wondering that anymore. So the movie I want to focus on today is probably not the best one, but it's definitely the most epic one. Sadako VS Kayako. The Ring versus The Grudge. Like, come on. That is pretty fucking epic. So what happens when some poor girl manages to get cursed by both of these entities at the same time? When I first heard about it, there was no doubt in my mind that I would probably enjoy myself quite a bit while watching it, despite the not so great plot, and I did. This movie is just fun. It was actually first teased as an April Fool's joke back in 2015, but just 6 months later, it was confirmed as a real production. I'm not really sure what that means, but isn't that what happened with Pokemon Go as well? Maybe the response to the joke was overwhelming hype, or maybe they just wanted to test people's reactions to the concept. Apparently it was a success. So, Sadako vs Kayako is a 2016 Japanese supernatural horror movie directed by this dude. Hello, this is me from the future. I just have to tell you guys that this director also made 2 other movies that I've talked about before. First of all, Noroi, which is a great psychological found footage horror movie, and Grotesque, which is like the torture film of all time. And he made them, and he made this, so yes. Keep enjoying watching. The movie starts with the cursed tape, as some woman finds it and watches it, because we all know that turns out so well, and it did for her too. The video player she was using is later sold at a shop and eventually bought by some university students. They quickly discover that there is already a tape inside the VCR, and one girl watches it while the other one watches her phone. Clever girl. So we just need to talk about the tape for a second. First of all, I don't understand why they changed it at all. I think it would be much cooler and creepier if it was the original tape with the original rules. Like, you're making a mashup, right? So I think it's important that you have like the basic key ingredients as the original tape. I guess an update would be fine, but a complete change was unnecessary in my opinion. So the tape now shows inside a building, and when Sadako comes, she walks through the door, which to me is just, why? Why would you do that? Why would you ruin something good, something that works, something that scared people for 10 years plus. Why would you change it? I don't understand. The well was a big part of what was scary in the first place. And they don't really seem to differentiate between the tape you watch when you get cursed and the video that plays when Sadako actually comes to kill you. Like, that's a strange creative call that someone made. So anyway, the amount of time that you get has also changed, as it used to be 7 days and now you just get 2, which is just whatever. I guess we should keep in mind that this is not one of the most serious entries in the franchises. So after getting cursed, the girl and her friend are naturally sort of panicking, so they decide to go to one of their professors for help. Unfortunately, he is already kind of obsessed with Sadako and is kind of dying to meet her, so he just eagerly watches the tape right away. It ends in a really messy way as usual, but we soon learn that help is coming. While waiting, the other girl decides to watch the tape, just in case she can save the other one, but doesn't work, so now they're both cursed, I guess. Introducing the help. So this man and this blind little psychic girl, who's kind of badass, comes to help the girls. They announce that the only way to get rid of the curse is to find another vengeful spirit and then pit them against each other, which is of course, but I just really wish that she would have gotten accidentally cursed by both. That she would have walked into the fucking house and found the tape on the same day, and it's just like, oh my god, hell is loose. But that didn't happen, and instead they're gonna do it this way. So currently we have 2 girls, and they are both cursed by Sadako. Kayako is yet to appear. The tape was also uploaded to the internet at some point, but it doesn't really affect the story, even though it kinda tried. It doesn't take much research before they decide that Kayako would be the perfect match for this, and then we're introduced to the Grudge house and another student. Yeah, the first girl has died already, by the way. So after being properly introduced to Kayako, her son, and his cat, all the characters are brought together and they decide to team up for the finale. Can we please just acknowledge that this cat has starred in 12 movies? I'm pretty sure that's a record. Not that I think it's the same actor, but the character has been brought to life. That's probably the wrong word. Brought to haunt? Either way, it's happened more than I've ever seen with any other cat in a franchise. Please correct me if I'm wrong. So now we have 2 girls. One cursed by Sadako and the Ring, the other by Kayako and the Grudge. Their next move is of course to make both girls afflicted with both curses, hoping that Sadako and Kayako will fight each other. It sounds so stupid, but at the same time, so awesome. Hello again. So here's this other thing that really bugs me about this movie. Why on earth is the well in the backyard of the Grudge house? Like, who thought of that? Who thought, oh, I have a great idea, let's just place the well in the backyard? It's perfect. Doesn't make any sense at all to any of the original stories, but you know, it makes sense for this, because now it's easy to get them to fight each other, because they're so close. They're like neighbors already. Like, how? So the well is in the movie somehow, so it doesn't make any sense to me. The well is in the movie, but it's not in the tape. She's just gonna crawl out of the well, like, at the time that she sees right, and she will walk through the door for the rest of the time. I'm just so not on their side. I don't know. Fuck me. I'm not gonna tell you how the movie ends, but I am gonna show you this wonderful clip / spoiler of the fusion monster that they eventually make. This movie is super weird, but also hysterical and kind of amazing. As I'm sure you can imagine, it has received pretty mixed reviews. Most of them I would probably categorize as directly negative, but I can't really say that I blame them for that. If I were to rate this movie, I would probably give it a 5 out of 13, and it only gets those 5 because I needed to see this. Some say it's boring, some say it's pointless, but I choose to stand by my opinion that this is a very entertaining movie. Sometimes you want to watch horror and laugh at how it isn't scary. This is the perfect movie for that, especially if you already love the franchise. If you don't, I probably would recommend that you stay far away from this mess. I promise that the next time I talk about a horror movie, it won't be from 2016. But for now, let's just list all the Ring and the Grudge movies I can find. First of all, we have Ringu from 1998, which is the original Japanese adaptation of the novel. And then we have Ringu Zero Birthday, which is, I guess, the sequel from the year 2000. And then we have the Ring Virus, which is the Korean remake of the first Japanese movie. And then we have Ring the Final Chapter, which is the Japanese television series based off of the book. And it has a second season called Rasen. They were both released in 1999, so that's just a year after the first movie came out. And then we have both of the American remakes, the Ring 1 and the Ring 2, released in 2002 and 2005. And of course, Sadako 3D, which I've talked about before, which was released in 2012. And of course, it also has a sequel that I did not know about, Sadako 3D 2. And then we have the American movie called Rings, which was released in 2017, that I actually don't really have any idea what it is. Now we're getting to it. Now we're actually getting to the good stuff here. So, The Grudge. It all began with 2 short films that were released in 1998. So, same year as Ringu. They are both considered prequels to The Grudge. And the first one was called Katasumi, and the second one is called 10 Force, which is written just 10 Force. Then we have Yu-Un the Curse, which is also a prequel to The Grudge that we all know and love. And then we have Yu-Un the Curse 2, which is also a prequel to The Grudge that we all know and love. And they were both released in the year 2000, which is also the year that The Grudge was released, so that's what I'm getting to next. These are all full-length movies made by the same director, all released in the year 2000. Then he took a little break and waited 3 years before he released Yu-Un the Grudge 2. And then the rest of the world caught on, so we got the American versions. The first one in 2004 and the second one in 2006. But of course, the American wasn't done, and immediately after that they released another short called Tales from the Grudge. And then they were just like, why are there just 2 movies? There should be 3. So without really any material to base it on, they went out and made The Grudge 3, which was released in 2009. In the same year, Yu-Un Black Ghost and Yu-Un White Ghost was released in Japan. They're sort of spin-off stories, so they're not prequels or sequels, they're just in sort of the same universe, but not really. And we're not done, because after that we have Yu-Un the Beginning of the End, which basically is the Japanese third entry. Like, we have 4 or 5 prequels, and then we have Yu-Un the Grudge and Yu-Un the Grudge 2. This, Yu-Un the Beginning of the End, from 2014, is basically Yu-Un the Grudge 3. And it doesn't end there, because the year after we got Yu-Un the Grudge 4, which is called Yu-Un the Final Curse. So yeah, that's pretty insane, but it actually doesn't end there, because a brand new American movie called Grudge is set to premiere in January of 2020. Now, this will actually be a reboot, directed by Nicholas Pesk and produced by Sam Raimi, who created the Evil Dead series. Even though it's announced as a reboot, they have actually come out and said that it will not be based on the original movies. Instead, it will introduce new ghosts, new characters, and a new mythology, while still trying to keep the concept and spirits of the franchise. I'm not really sure how I feel about this, but I guess we'll just have to wait a year and see. It's funny to me how it seems like it will never die though. Movies like Saw made the mistake of numbering their movies. People stop paying attention when you get to like 7 or 8. But when you never go higher than 3 and just change the title a little bit and add some subtitles, it's impossible to keep track on how many there actually are. Like, if I would have asked you how many Grudge movies there are, would your guess have been 14? Because mine definitely wouldn't, and I believe I've seen all of them. Anyway, this was really fun for me to make, so thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you next time. Hi, I'm another version of me from the future again. Thank you for watching this far. But now you need to make a decision, because apparently all of Japan did. Are you Team Sadako or are you Team Kayako? If you're in doubt, here are some videos from their election campaigns, because yes, they made that. Sadako shares her dreams of making Japan great again, by cursing it, and Kayako criticizes Sadako for being old-fashioned, implying that VHS tapes are outdated. They also say something about why they are so great, but that was the tea. Multiple Sadakos and Kayakos would also gather and dance to the movie's theme song to engage the public in the election, something I thought I'd never see. Here's one you might have heard of, the legendary Sadako and Kayako baseball match. No? Not familiar? Let me show you. This is great. You can also follow Kayako on Instagram, where she posted daily photos of her and Toshio for a while. Sadako, however, is more reserved with her sharing and sticks to writing long tweets. This, I'm not so sure what is. White hair TV fan thing. And these are the cutest! I want them! Twitter and Instagram are pretty normal though. A baseball game? Not so much. They also for some reason tried pro wrestling and horse racing. Like, don't even ask me. Toshio is also apparently really into heavy metal, so I'm sure you're all just as glad as me that he finally got to try that out. And just listen to this. And finally, the last promotional thing I could find was the director taking some time with the spirits to talk about movie etiquette. I hope you enjoy this as much as I did.
ポップコーン対決。まずは画面の中在住の貞子さん。おすすめしてくれたのは塩味。
So, it's really clear that this movie never really was intended to be all that serious. But at the same time, I wouldn't call it a comedy. Like, there are no jokes in the film that I could think of right now. Everything's like ridiculous, like absolutely ridiculous all the time, but it's not like, I don't know, maybe it's supposed to be funny and I just didn't get it. But yeah, whatever. Bye!